For millennia, the galaxy had known peace and prosperity, with various species forming alliances, engaging in trade, and sharing knowledge. But that era of tranquility came to an abrupt end with the rise of the Kraxon Empire. The Kraxons, a species evolved from apex predators on their harsh homeworld, had developed a society built on conquest and domination. Their ships, sleek and deadly, cut through the darkness of space like obsidian blades. Their weapons, powered by exotic matter harvested from dying stars, could reduce entire planets to ash in a matter of hours. System by system, the Kraxon Empire expanded its reach. Those who surrendered were subjugated, forced to toil in mines and factories to fuel the Empire's war machine. Those who resisted were annihilated, their worlds turned into cautionary tales whispered in the dark corners of space stations and refugee camps. In a remote arm of the galaxy, blissfully unaware of the storm brewing in distant stars, humanity had taken its first tentative steps into interstellar space. The UES Horizon, Earth's most advanced exploration vessel, glided through the inky void, its crew filled with excitement at the prospect of new discoveries. Captain Aria Novak stood on the bridge, her dark eyes scanning the sensor readouts. A lock of her silver-streaked hair had escaped its tight bun, a testament to the long hours she'd spent overseeing their latest survey mission. "Captain," called out Lieutenant Zain Mirza, his fingers dancing over the communications console. "We're picking up an unusual signal. It doesn't match any known patterns in our database." Aria frowned, moving to Zain's station. "Origin? Approximately 2 light-years from our current position. It's faint, but there's definitely something out there." The captain's mind raced with possibilities. Could this be their first contact with an alien civilization? Or perhaps a natural phenomenon they'd never encountered before? Either way, the scientific potential was too great to ignore. "Helm, set a course for the signal's origin," Aria ordered. "Let's see what we found." As the horizon altered its trajectory, tension filled the bridge. The crew had trained for this moment, but the reality of potentially encountering alien life sent a thrill of excitement and apprehension through every soul on board. Hours passed as the ship drew closer to the signal's source. Finally, Lieutenant Mirza's console lit up with new information. "Captain, we've got a visual." The main view screen flickered to life, revealing a sight that left the crew speechless. A massive ship, easily 10 times the size of the horizon, drifted in space. Its hull was scarred and blackened, with gaping holes revealing the vessel's ravaged interior. Debris floated around it like a cloud of metallic confetti. "Life signs?" Aria asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Dr. Yuki Tanaka, the ship's xenobiologist, consulted her readings. "Faint, but present. Multiple species, from what I can tell. They're in bad shape, Captain." Aria's jaw set with determination. "Prep the medical bay and alert the first contact team. We're going to offer assistance." As the Horizon maneuvered alongside the alien vessel, the crew prepared for their first encounter with extraterrestrial life. Little did they know that this moment would change the course of human history forever. A boarding party, led by Commander Marcus Blackwood, entered the alien ship through one of the breaches in its hull. The interior was a maze of twisted metal and flickering emergency lights. The air was thin, barely breathable, and carried the acrid scent of burned circuitry. "Stay alert," Marcus warned his team as they made their way deeper into the ship. "We don't know what we're dealing with here." They found the survivors huddled in what appeared to be an emergency shelter. Beings of various shapes and sizes, some humanoid, others utterly alien, looked up at the humans with a mixture of fear and desperate hope. One of the aliens, a tall, willowy creature with iridescent skin, stepped forward. It spoke, its voice a melody of clicks and whistles that the universal translator struggled to decipher. "Please, help us," the alien managed to convey. "The Kraxons, they're coming." Marcus shared a confused look with his team. "Kraxons? Who are they?" The alien's large, multifaceted eyes seemed to darken with dread. the scourge of the galaxy. Conquerors, destroyers. They attacked our world, our fleet. We are all that remain. As the human team began to assist the alien survivors, transferring them to the Horizon's medical bay, they listened in horror to tales of the Kraxon Empire's brutality. System after system had fallen to their relentless advance, with entire species wiped out or enslaved. Back on the bridge, Captain Novak received the reports from the boarding party with growing concern. The galaxy she had hoped to explore was a far more dangerous place than anyone on Earth had imagined. "Captain," Zane called out, his voice tight with urgency. "Long-range sensors are picking up multiple objects on an intercept course. They match the descriptions of Kraxon warships." Aria's mind raced. They were outgunned and had a ship full of refugees. Running was their only option, but the Horizon wasn't built for prolonged high-speed travel. "Plot a course back to Earth," she ordered, her voice steady despite the fear gnawing at her gut. "We need to warn our people. The galaxy is at war, and like it or not, we've just been drawn into the fight." As the Horizon's engines flared to life, pushing the ship to speeds it was never designed to maintain, Aria gazed at the view screen. The stars streaked by, no longer points of light but lines of fire. Somewhere out there, the Kraxon ships pursued, heralds of a threat humanity had never imagined. The age of Earth's innocence was over. The real test of humanity's strength and ingenuity was about to begin. The UES Horizon limped into Earth's orbit, its hull scarred from pushing its engines beyond their limits. As Captain Aria Novak transmitted her urgent report to United Earth Command, a flurry of activity erupted across the globe. World leaders convened in emergency sessions, military strategists pored over the data from the Horizon, and scientists worked tirelessly to understand the technology of their alien refugees. Dr. Elara Vance, Earth's leading xenanthropologist, found herself at the center of humanity's first true extraterrestrial diplomatic efforts. In a hastily prepared conference room at the United Nations headquarters in New York, she sat across from Zalfran, the willowy alien who had first communicated with the Horizon's crew. "We are deeply grateful for your people's assistance," Zalfran's melodic voice echoed through the translator. "But I fear we have brought great danger to your world." Elara leaned forward, her green eyes filled with determination. "We understand the risks, Zalfran, but we can't stand by while the Kraxons destroy everything in their path. Tell us more about them. What are their weaknesses?" As Zalfran began to explain the intricacies of Kraxon technology and tactics, military leaders around the world initiated defense protocols. Satellites were repurposed for early warning systems, and mothballed weapons platforms were hurriedly recommissioned. In orbit, Fleet Admiral Darius Kane oversaw the rapid expansion of Earth's fledgling space force. Ships designed for exploration were retrofitted with weapons, while new vessels were constructed at a breakneck pace. "We're working with borrowed time," Kane growled to his assembled officers. "The Kraxons could arrive at any moment. We need every advantage we can get." One of those advantages came in the form of Dr. Imani Okoro, a brilliant physicist who had been studying the alien technology salvaged from the refugee ship. In her lab at the Lagos Space Center, she made a breakthrough that would change the course of the coming conflict. "It's not just about firepower," Imani explained to a rapt audience of scientists and military personnel. "The Kraxons use a form of faster-than-light travel that warps space-time. If we can detect these distortions, we might be able to predict their movements." As humanity raced to prepare for the impending invasion, tension gripped the planet. Cities conducted blackout drills, civilians underwent emergency training, and a global sense of unity emerged in the face of an existential threat. Captain Novak, now promoted to Rear Admiral, found herself leading a task force dedicated to developing unconventional tactics against the Kraxons. "We can't match them ship for ship," she told her team. "But humans have a long history of asymmetric warfare. We need to think outside the box." Months passed, and Earth's defenses grew stronger. The technology shared by the alien refugees was integrated into human systems, creating a hybrid of terrestrial ingenuity and extraterrestrial advancement. But would it be enough? The answer came on a quiet Tuesday morning. Alarms blared across every continent as massive spatial distortions were detected at the edge of the solar system. The Kraxon fleet had arrived. Admiral Kane's voice, tense but resolute, echoed through communication channels worldwide. This is not a drill. All defense forces to battle stations. May whatever gods you believe in be with us all. As the first wave of Kraxon ships entered the solar system, humanity held its collective breath. The massive vessels, black as the void and bristling with weapons, made Earth's hastily assembled fleet look like toys in comparison. But humans were not about to go down without a fight. As the Kraxon ships approached Mars, they encountered their first surprise. Hidden bases on the red planet's moons launched swarms of automated drones, their signals scrambled to confuse Kraxon sensors. In the asteroid belt, mining installations repurposed as weapon platforms unleashed barrages of magnetically accelerated projectiles, peppering the Kraxon fleet's advance guard with thousands of hypervelocity impacts. Admiral Kane watched from his flagship, the UES Defiant, as the first skirmishes unfolded. "Hold the line," he ordered. "Let them come to us." The Kraxons, accustomed to swift victories against technologically inferior foes, found themselves frustrated by human tactics. Every approach was met with layers of defense, clouds of smart mines, holographic decoys, and electronic warfare suites that played havoc with their targeting systems. But the aliens' technological superiority began to show as they adapted. Kraxon energy weapons lashed out, vaporizing human ships and defense platforms. Their shields shrugged off most of Earth's counterattacks, and their numbers seemed endless. As the battle raged across the solar system, Dr. Okoro worked feverishly in her lab, fine-tuning her detection system. "We need to find their command ship," she muttered, her eyes glued to streams of data. "If we can disrupt their coordination." Her efforts paid off as a particularly large spatial distortion appeared behind Jupiter. "Admiral Kane," she shouted into her comlink. "I've found it. Sending coordinates now." Kane didn't hesitate. All ships with jump capability, form up on the Defiant, were taking the fight to them. In a daring maneuver, a task force of Earth's most advanced ships performed a series of micro-jumps, appearing practically on top of the Kraxon command vessel. The massive alien ship, easily the size of a small moon, dwarfed the human fleet. "All ships, concentrate fire on these coordinates," Kane ordered, highlighting a section of the Kraxon vessel that Zalthran had identified as a potential weak point. Human weapons, enhanced with salvaged alien technology, lanced out. For a moment, it seemed as if they were having no effect. Then, a series of explosions blossomed across the Kraxon ship's hull. A cheer went up across the human fleet, but it was short-lived. The wounded Kraxon vessel retaliated with a barrage of energy weapons that annihilated half of Kane's task force in seconds. As the survivors regrouped, preparing for another assault, a new threat emerged. Kraxon dropships, escorted by swarms of fighters, broke through Earth's outer defenses. The ground invasion had begun. Admiral Kane's voice, somber but unyielding, addressed the forces of Earth one last time before the real battle began. "They may have the advantage in space, but this is our home. Our families, our history, everything we've ever known or loved is here. We will not let it fall. For Earth." As cities around the world braced for impact, the true test of humanity's resolve was about to unfold. The Kraxons had brought the fight to Earth's doorstep, but they were about to learn that conquering humanity would not be as easy as they had imagined. The skies over Earth's major cities darkened as Kraxon dropships descended through the atmosphere. Their sleek, predatory forms cast long shadows over streets already choked with panicked civilians rushing to shelters. The sound of their engines, a deep, otherworldly thrumming, sent shivers down the spines of even the bravest defenders. In New York, Lieutenant Sofia Rodriguez stood atop the Empire State Building, now converted into a makeshift command center. She watched through high-powered binoculars as the first Kraxon forces touched down in Central Park. "This is Eco 6, she reported into her comm. "Hostiles have landed. They're not what we expected." The Kraxon ground troops were a terrifying sight. Standing nearly 3 meters tall, their bodies were a fusion of organic muscle and advanced cybernetics. Each soldier was a walking arsenal, with weapons sprouting from their armored frames like deadly appendages. As the alien invaders began to fan out across the city, Earth's defenders sprang into action. Years of disaster preparedness drills and hastily implemented alien defense protocols were put to the test. In London, the Thames barrier rose, not to hold back floodwaters, but to reveal hidden weapon emplacements. Experimental sonic cannons, developed using principles gleaned from the alien refugees, sent out pulses that shattered Kraxon armor and disrupted their cybernetic systems. Paris became a maze of holographic projections and false streets, confusing the invaders' navigation systems and leading them into carefully prepared kill zones. The Eiffel Tower, long since reinforced and upgraded, revealed itself to be a massive EMP generator, temporarily disabling swaths of Kraxon tech. But for every victory humanity claimed, the Kraxons answered with overwhelming force. Their energy weapons carved swaths of destruction through city blocks, and their numbers seemed endless. In orbit, Admiral Kane's battered fleet regrouped, trying desperately to stem the tide of Kraxon reinforcements. "We need to buy more time for the ground forces," he growled, studying the tactical display. "Prepare for Operation Firewall." Across the solar system, dormant defense platforms suddenly sprang to life. Automated factories on Mercury, disguised as solar collection arrays, began pumping out swarms of kamikaze drones. The rings of Saturn rippled as hidden missile silos emerged from within the icy debris. For a moment, it seemed as if humanity might be turning the tide. But the Kraxons had not conquered half the galaxy by being easily defeated. Their flagship, wounded but still operational, unleashed a weapon that none had anticipated. A wave of dark energy rolled out across space, snuffing out the lives of everyone it touched. Entire stations went dark, their crews reduced to lifeless husks. Only the most heavily shielded human ships survived the onslaught. On Earth, the situation grew dire. Kraxon forces pushed deeper into major population centers, and reports of atrocities began to flood in. In Moscow, the entire Kremlin was vaporized in a show of force. The Sydney Opera House became a gruesome trophy hall for Kraxon war leaders. But even in the darkest hour, the human spirit refused to be extinguished. In the ruins of Rio de Janeiro, a group of civilians, led by a former carnival dancer named Gabriel Costa, organized a resistance cell. Using homemade explosives and captured Kraxon weapons, they began to harry the alien patrols, buying time for others to escape to the relative safety of the Amazon. In Nairobi, Dr. Amina Osei, a brilliant geneticist, worked tirelessly in a hidden lab. Using samples of Kraxon biology retrieved by special forces, she sought a way to turn the invaders' own physiology against them. "Their cybernetic enhancements are tied directly into their nervous systems," she explained to her team. "If we can disrupt that connection..." As the battle raged on, unexpected allies emerged. Deep in the Mariana Trench, an ancient aquatic civilization, long hidden from human eyes, rose to join the fight. Their organic technology, powered by the Earth's geothermal energy, proved surprisingly effective against Kraxon shields. In orbit, a battered Admiral Kane received a transmission from an unlikely source. A group of Kraxon deserters, led by a disgraced commander named Vexkar, offered their assistance. "We have seen the courage of your people," Vexkar's translated voice crackled through the comm. "The Kraxon Empire's path of destruction must end." With the help of Vexkar's inside knowledge, Kane formulated a daring plan. If they could capture a Kraxon command ship intact, they might be able to turn the invaders' own technology against them. On the ground, humanity's resistance grew stronger and more organized. The lessons of asymmetric warfare, learned over centuries of human conflict, were adapted to this new cosmic threat. Sewers and subway tunnels became underground highways for resistance fighters. Hackers worked tirelessly to infiltrate Kraxon communications, feeding false information and sowing confusion among the invaders. In the skies over Beijing, a squad of pilots led by Captain Ji Chen executed a maneuver that would become legendary. Flying salvaged and upgraded Kraxon fighters, they used the city's smog as cover to ambush a major alien assault force. Their victory bought crucial time for the evacuation of millions of civilians. As the war entered its third month, Earth was a scared and battered planet. Great swaths of land had been reduced to ash and rubble. The population had been decimated, but those who survived fought on with a tenacity that began to give even the Kraxons pause. In his hidden command bunker deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, General Marcus Blackwood, now the de facto leader of Earth's combined military forces, received reports from around the globe. Despite the horrendous casualties and widespread destruction, a pattern was emerging. The Kraxons were being blood dry by 1,000 cuts, their seemingly inexhaustible resources beginning to show signs of strain. "We're not beaten yet," Blackwood addressed his staff, his voice hoarse from days without rest. "Humanity has faced extinction before, whether by our own hand or by nature's whims. Each time, we've come back stronger. This time will be no different." As he spoke, Dr. Osei's team in Nairobi made a breakthrough. They had developed a virus that could infect the Kraxon's cybernetic systems, turning their own enhancements into a crippling weakness. It wasn't a silver bullet, but it was a start. In orbit, Admiral Kane's fleet, bolstered by Vexcar's deserters and a motley assortment of armed civilian ships, prepared for a desperate gambit. They would attempt to board and capture the Kraxon flagship, giving humanity access to the invaders' most advanced technology. As the plan was set in motion, a tense silence fell over the war-torn Earth. After months of ceaseless conflict, this could be the turning point that decided the fate of not just humanity, but of the entire galaxy. The future hung in the balance, with the hopes and dreams of countless beings resting on the shoulders of a species that refused to go quietly into the night. Humanity had been pushed to the brink, but now it was time to push back. The plan to capture the Kraxon flagship was audacious, bordering on suicidal. Admiral Kane knew the risks, but humanity had run out of alternatives. As his Ractic fleet approached the massive alien vessel, Kane addressed his forces one last time. "We stand at the precipice," his voice crackled through the comms. "Not just of our own extinction, but of the subjugation of all free peoples in the galaxy. What we do here today will echo through history. For Earth, for freedom, for the future." The assault began with a barrage of electromagnetic pulses designed by Dr. Okoro to exploit a weakness in Kraxon's shielding. As sections of the flagship's defenses flickered, specially modified boarding craft latched onto its hull like metallic leeches. Leading the boarding party was a joint team of human special forces and Vexcar's Kraxon rebels. Captain Zara Hendricks, a decorated veteran of Earth's pre-invasion conflicts, fought side by side with the towering Vexcar as they pushed through the flagship's corridors. "Left," Vexcar bellowed, his massive form pivoting to unleash a barrage of plasma fire at a group of loyalist Kraxons. Zara ducked under his arm, tossing a cluster of smart grenades that filled the air with disorienting holograms and crippling sonic pulses. As the boarders fought their way toward the ship's command center, the battle in space reached a fever pitch. Kane's fleet, though outnumbered, fought with desperate intensity. Ships on both sides erupted in silent explosions, brief flares of light in the vast darkness. On Earth, the ground war entered a new phase. Dr. Osei's virus, now weaponized, was deployed against Kraxon ground forces. The effect was immediate and devastating. Alien troops collapsed as their cybernetic enhancements turned against them, their own bodies becoming prisons of agony. In the ruins of Tokyo, a group of teenage hackers, led by the prodigy Hiro Tanaka, launched a cyber attack on Kraxon communication networks. Using a mix of Earth tech and reverse-engineered alien systems, They created a cascade of false orders and misleading information, throwing the invaders into disarray. Back on the Kraxon flagship, Zora and Vexcar's team finally breached the command center. The ship's leader, High Commander Zixthor, stood waiting for them. His massive form, more machine than organic, pulsed with dark energy. "You dare to challenge the might of the Kraxon Empire." Zixthor's voice boomed, shaking the very deck beneath their feet. "Your species is nothing but a speck of dust in the cosmic wind." Vexcar stepped forward, his eyes blazing with a mix of shame and determination. "We were wrong, Zixthor. The path of endless conquest leads only to our own destruction. It's time for a new way." What followed was a battle that would be recounted in legends for generations to come. Zixthor's advanced weaponry clashed with the combined might and ingenuity of the boarding party. Zora's tactical brilliance complemented Vexcar's raw power as human and Kraxon rebel fought as one. In a crucial moment, Dr. Osi's virus found its way into Zixthor's systems. As the High Commander faltered, Zora saw her opening. With a leap that seemed to defy gravity, she plunged an electromagnetic disruptor, courtesy of Dr. Okoro's research, into Zixthor's central processor. The High Commander fell, and with him, the coordinated resistance of the Kraxon forces began to crumble. As news of the flagship's capture spread, a renewed sense of hope surged through Earth's defenders. In cities around the world, resistance fighters emerged from hiding to launch coordinated attacks on confused and leaderless Kraxon troops. Admiral Kane's voice, tired but triumphant, echoed across all frequencies. "The flagship is ours. To all Earth forces and our allies, press the advantage. The tide has turned." In the days that followed, the momentum of the war shifted dramatically. With access to the flagship's technology and Vexcar's insider knowledge, humanity began to systematically dismantle the Kraxon war machine. Dr. Elara Vance found herself working closely with Vexcar and other Kraxon defectors, building bridges between species that had been bitter enemies mere weeks before. "We have a chance here," she told an assembly of human and alien representatives, "to build something new. A galactic community based on mutual respect and cooperation, not domination." As Kraxon forces retreated from Earth, humanity faced the monumental task of rebuilding. But they were not alone. Ships arrived from across the galaxy, refugees, former slaves, and others who had suffered under Kraxon rule. They brought aid, technology, and a willingness to help forge a new future. In the burned-out husk of what was once the United Nations building in New York, a new council formed. Humans sat alongside beings of all shapes and sizes, united in their desire to ensure that no empire would ever again threaten the freedom of sentient beings. Admiral Kane, his hair now more gray than black, stood at the podium. "We have won a great victory," he said, his voice carrying to every corner of the globe and beyond. "But our work is just beginning. The Kraxon Empire still holds many worlds in its grasp. We have a responsibility to free them, to extend the hand of friendship to all who would join us in building a better galaxy." As the council deliberated on the monumental tasks ahead, on street corners and in refugee camps, in orbit and on distant planets, a new sense of purpose took hold. Humanity had faced its greatest challenge and emerged not just victorious, but transformed. The stars, once a source of terror, now beckoned with the promise of adventure, discovery, and a shared destiny among the cosmos. The human spirit, tested by fire, had proven itself ready to take its place in a much larger community. As night fell on a battered but unbowed Earth, millions looked to the sky with new eyes. The Kraxon threat had brought humanity to the brink of extinction, but in doing so, it had catapulted them into a new era of galactic citizenship. The future, vast and unknown, awaited. In the months following the capture of the Kraxon flagship, Earth underwent a remarkable transformation. The scars of war still marred its surface, but amidst the ruins, new structures rose, a blend of human ingenuity and alien technology. The skylines of rebuilt cities now featured towering spires of crystalline materials that harnessed solar energy with unprecedented efficiency. But even as humanity rebuilt, they knew their work was far from over. The Kraxon Empire, though dealt a severe blow, still held vast swaths of the galaxy in its iron grip. Billions of beings on countless worlds suffered under their rule, and Earth's leaders knew they had a responsibility to act. In a secret facility beneath the restored Himalayas, a joint task force of Earth's brightest minds and their new alien allies worked tirelessly on a plan that would come to be known as Operation Starburst. Dr. Imani Okoro stood before a holographic display of the Milky Way, swirling with points of light representing Kraxon-controlled systems. The key, she explained to the assembled military and scientific leaders, is to strike at multiple points simultaneously. We can't match their numbers, but we can use their own network against them. Admiral Kane, now sporting a cybernetic eye, a souvenir from the battle for the flagship, nodded grimly. A synchronized attack across dozens of systems. It's ambitious, Doctor. Some might say impossible. Impossible is what we do best, interjected Gabriel Costa, the former carnival dancer turned resistance leader. His experience in coordinating Earth's ground resistance had earned him a place at the highest levels of strategic planning. We've already achieved the impossible by surviving. Now it's time to thrive. The plan that emerged was audacious in its scope and complexity. Using the captured Kraxon flagship as a template, Earth and its allies began construction of a fleet of hybrid vessels. These ships combined the best of Kraxon technology with human adaptability and the unique contributions of a dozen alien species. Vex Kar, now a trusted advisor to Earth's military, provided crucial intelligence on Kraxon supply lines and command structures. Their empire is vast, he rumbled, his massive form hunched over a tactical display, but it is built on fear. Remove that fear, show the subjugated peoples that resistance is possible, and the entire structure will begin to crumble. As preparations for Operation Starburst entered their final stages, a new challenge emerged. Long-range sensors detected a massive Kraxon fleet assembling at the edge of charted space. It seemed the Empire was preparing a counterattack, one that could potentially overwhelm Earth's defenses. In a tense meeting of the Galactic Council, voices were raised in alarm. "We're not ready," argued the representative from Proxima Centauri, Earth's closest extrasolar colony. "If we commit our forces to Starburst, we leave ourselves exposed." It was Zara Hendricks, the hero of the flagship assault, who silenced the doubters. "We'll never be fully ready," she said, her voice quiet but filled with steel. "But every moment we hesitate is another moment billions suffer under Kraxon rule. We strike now, not just for ourselves, but for every being that has ever dreamed of freedom." Her words carried the day. Operation Starburst was given the green light. The day of the operation dawned with a tense silence across Earth and its allied worlds. In orbit, the fleet of hybrid ships shimmered into existence as their advanced cloaking systems deactivated. On the ground, millions held their breath, knowing that the future of not just humanity, but of the entire galaxy hung in the balance. Admiral Kane's voice crackled across all frequencies. "All ships, commence jump sequence. May fortune favor the bold." In a dazzling display of light and energy, the fleet vanished, using a modified version of Kraxon FTL technology to appear simultaneously in dozens of star systems across the galaxy. The initial strikes were devastatingly effective. Taken by surprise, Kraxon forces found themselves under attack from ships that seemed to appear out of nowhere, using tactics and technology they had never encountered before. On the planet Sarloth, a key Kraxon stronghold, Gabriel Costa led a team of human and alien special forces in a daring raid on the planetary defense grid. Their objective, to disable the planet's shields and allow the rebel fleet to land troops. As Costa's team fought their way through hordes of Kraxon defenders, Dr. Amina Osei coordinated a galaxy-wide deployment of her cybernetic virus. Entire legions of Kraxon troops fell, their own enhancements turning against them in a cascade of system failures. In the space above Tharloth, Zara Hendricks commanded a squadron of fighters their agile forms dancing between lumbering Kraxon cruisers. Her tactics, honed in the desperate defense of Earth, proved devastatingly effective against an enemy unused to such unpredictable maneuvers. But the true game-changer came in the form of a message broadcast across every frequency and communication channel in Kraxon-controlled space. It was Vexkar, his scarred face, filling view screens on countless worlds. People of the galaxy, hear me. The Kraxon Empire's reign of terror is at an end. For too long, we have been complicit in the suffering of countless beings. But no more. Join us, fight with us, and together we will forge a new future, one of freedom, cooperation, and hope. The effect was electric. On world after world, subjugated populations rose up against their Kraxon overlords. Ships thought lost returned, crewed by former slaves and prisoners. The carefully maintained order of the Kraxon Empire began to fracture and collapse. As reports of victories poured in from across the galaxy, the mood on Earth shifted from tense anticipation to cautious jubilation. But Admiral Kane and the other leaders knew that the hardest part was yet to come. "We've opened the door," Kane told the Galactic Council as Operation Starburst entered its second week. "Now we need to ensure that what comes next is better than what came before. This isn't just about defeating the Kraxons, it's about building a lasting peace." As the galactic landscape shifted, new challenges and opportunities emerged. The fall of the Kraxon Empire left a power vacuum that threatened to plunge the galaxy into chaos. But it also offered a chance to create something new, a true galactic community based on mutual respect and cooperation. Earth, once a backwater world unknown to the wider galaxy, now found itself at the center of this monumental change. The crucible of war had forged humanity into something greater than it had been, ready to take its place among the stars not as conquerors, but as partners in a grand cosmic adventure. As Operation Starburst drew to a close, marking the effective end of Kraxon dominance, a new chapter in galactic history began. The stars, once a source of fear and oppression for so many, now shone with the promise of a brighter future, one that humanity would help shape. As the dust settled on Operation Starburst, the galaxy found itself in a state of unprecedented flux. The fall of the Kraxon Empire had left a power vacuum that threatened to plunge countless worlds into chaos. Yet, amidst the uncertainty, there was hope, a chance to build something new and better. On Earth, the Galactic Council convened in a newly constructed chamber that blended architectural styles from a dozen worlds. Representatives from former Kraxon-controlled planets joined those who had fought alongside humanity in the war. The air buzzed with a mix of excitement and trepidation. Dr. Elara Vance, now serving as Earth's chief diplomat, addressed the assembly. "We stand at a crossroads," she began, her voice carrying to every corner of the vast chamber. "The Kraxon Empire's fall has given us an opportunity to reshape the galaxy. But with that opportunity comes great responsibility." The challenges were immense. Entire star systems lay in ruins, their populations displaced or decimated. Former Kraxon soldiers, now without purpose or direction, roamed the space lanes as pirates and marauders. And there were whispers of other threats lurking in the dark spaces between the stars, emboldened by the power shift. But for every challenge, there was a solution born of cooperation and shared purpose. The hybrid ships that had been key to Operation Starburst's success were repurposed for relief efforts, delivering aid and technology to worlds ravaged by Kraxon rule. Gabriel Costa, drawing on his experience in organizing Earth's resistance, spearheaded efforts to establish local governance on liberated planets. "Every world, every species has its own needs and culture," he explained to a group of newly appointed planetary leaders. "Our job isn't to dictate, but to empower." In the scientific realm, Dr. Imani Okoro led a coalition of researchers from across the galaxy in an ambitious project to create a faster, more efficient form of interstellar travel. "The key to lasting peace," she argued, "is bringing the galaxy closer together, not just physically, but culturally and economically." Vexkar, once a feared Kraxon commander and now a respected voice for reform, worked tirelessly to rehabilitate former soldiers and integrate them into the new galactic society. "We were bred for war," he told a group of skeptical human reporters, "but we can learn to live in peace. It is a challenge we must rise to, for the sake of all." As months turned to years, the new galactic order began to take shape. Earth, once an isolated world on the fringes of known space, now found itself at the heart of a vast network of alliances and trade routes. The spirit of cooperation that had been forged in the crucible of war blossomed into something greater, a shared vision of a future where diversity was celebrated and the pursuit of knowledge took precedence over conquest. But it wasn't all smooth sailing. Old rivalries and new tensions threatened the fragile peace. On the planet Nyx, a dispute over resource allocation nearly erupted into open conflict. It was Admiral Kane, now serving as a roving troubleshooter, who brokered a last-minute agreement. "We didn't come this far, sacrifice so much, just to fall back into the old patterns," he told the feuding parties. "Remember what we fought for. Remember what we can achieve together." 5 years after the fall of the Kraxon Empire, the galaxy celebrated its first unification day. On countless worlds, beings of all shapes and sizes gathered to commemorate not just the end of tyranny, but the birth of a new era. In New York, now a shining example of human-alien cooperation in urban design, Zara Hendricks stood on a platform overlooking a sea of faces, human and alien alike. As she prepared to give the keynote address, she reflected on the long, arduous journey that had brought them to this point. "Friends, allies, fellow citizens of the galaxy," she began, her voice carrying across the assembled crowd and to millions more watching on screens across 100 worlds. 5 years ago, we faced extinction. Today, we stand united, not just as survivors, but as architects of a new future. She paused, her eyes scanning the crowd. "We have achieved much, but our work is far from over. There are still worlds to heal, bridges to build, and mysteries to uncover. The galaxy is vast, and there will always be new challenges to face. But we face them together, stronger for our diversity, wiser for our experiences." As Zara spoke, on the edges of known space, a joint human-alien expedition made first contact with a newly discovered sentient species. In a research lab on Mars, a team of scientists unlocked the secrets of dark energy, paving the way for technologies that would reshape their understanding of the universe. And in a small cast room on a once Kraxon world, children of a dozen species learned about the interconnectedness of all living things. "The stars were once a source of fear," Zara continued, her voice swelling with emotion. "Now they are a promise of discovery, of growth, of a future limited only by our imagination and our willingness to work together. We are no longer alone in the cosmos. We are part of something greater, a galactic community bound by shared hopes and dreams." As her words echoed across the galaxy, they resonated with billions of beings. The fall of the Kraxon Empire had indeed been an ending, but it was also a beginning. Humanity, tested by fire and transformed by its trials, had found its place among the stars, and the galaxy, once a realm of conquest and fear, now shone with the promise of a brighter tomorrow. Zara's final words hung in the air, a testament to how far they had come and a beacon for the journey ahead. "Together, we have written a new chapter in the story of the cosmos. And together, we will continue to reach for the stars, not to conquer, but to connect, to understand, and to grow. The future is ours to shape. Let us make it a future worthy of all we have endured and all we hope to become." As the cheers erupted and the celebrations began anew, the sense of possibility was palpable. The galaxy, vast and wondrous, awaited, and humanity, along with its myriad allies, was ready for whatever adventures lay ahead. The end, or perhaps just the beginning of a greater story yet to unfold.